China is experiencing its worst wave of coronavirus since early 2020 when the first wave of the pandemic emerged in Wuhan. The country has locked down more than 45 million people across multiple cities amid 5,154 fresh cases on Tuesday compared with less than 100 a month ago. One of the cities under lockdown is the technology hub of Shenzhen, where authorities have ordered non-essential businesses to close at least until March 20th. The city has a population of 17.5 million. Dozens of companies that make everything from printed circuit boards to touch panels, many of which are Taiwanese, have stopped production at their factories in Shenzhen. Contract manufacturer Foxconn, which is the biggest iPhone assembler, resumed partial operations at its two Shenzhen campuses after 2 days under a strict factory bubble system. Shenzhen is known for its hardware manufacturing ecosystem. It also has the world's fourth largest container port. Although all smartphones that are sold in India are assembled locally, handset manufacturers still rely on imports from Shenzhen for various vital components. In fact, India's biggest import from China is electronic components. Of the total imports of $76.6 billion from China between April and January of the current fiscal, electronic components accounted for $8.8 billion. Apple's second largest supplier, Pegatron, is reportedly aiming to start local production in India next month. But potential supply chain issues could put a spanner in the works for the contract manufacturer. Navkendar Singh of IDC India tells us whether the Shenzhen lockdown is a cause for worry for India.
Even after lots of activity around make in India or assemble in India, we're still highly dependent on China, especially Shenzhen. The reason for that is while lots of ecosystem of production has been developed in India around the lower value items, which go, lower value components like charger, battery cases, but the higher value items like display and the chipset, we depend on China, right? So and Taiwan to some extent. There has been a problem with the supply for the past 2 years, and normalcy was returning. But then two things happened, right? After the mid of February, we saw Russia, both countries which are very important in some of the raw materials which are used in the component production in China and some other parts of the world. And the double whammy on that is another set of cases coming in. China has been very ultra cautious in the sense, since the first wave, they know that the world depends on the value chain which comes out of China. And you can't have disruption going on more than 15, 20 days. Our view is this on this particular Shenzhen piece. See, Q1 is sorted from supply and production in India point of view. Q1 is okay because lots of brands, and I'm talking across categories now, TVs as well, and this as well, and some of the laptop guys as well. Now, if this goes on beyond 20 days, this Shenzhen lockdown and some of the other ports lockdown, then it's a matter of concern for us. Then we are staring at a possibility that May mid onward, the latter half of the second quarter, and depending on the severity of this and how long it can go, maybe the third quarter as well, we should see some impact coming there. Even this 20 days will lead to price hikes as well. The stocks are not there even for the components you need. You would bring them by air freight probably, which is very expensive. Only 5 to 10% of the components are brought by air freight. Everything else is by shipping lanes. So if the ports are not there, how do you bring it?
Apart from electronic components, India's top imports from China are telecom instruments, computer hardware, chemicals, and pharmaceutical raw materials. 70% of India's active pharmaceutical ingredient requirement is met through China. The new wave is testing China's zero COVID strategy, which aims to suppress contagion as quickly as possible with snap lockdowns, mass testing, and careful contact tracing. Indian manufacturers maintain sufficient stocks that can withstand any short-term supply issues. However, if China is not able to bring the current surge of cases under control, the lockdowns could spread to other parts of the country, leaving India vulnerable to supply shocks. Indian factories will face a shortage of key raw materials that can disrupt production, especially in sectors like smartphones, electronics, and pharma.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.